Welcome to Ware's Boiler University. We have people here from all ability levels, so what we want to start off with is a brief tour through our Boiler U facility to introduce some of the subjects we'll be discussing. From feed water coming in to the uses of steam, we're going to be covering a lot, so we just want to get everybody started on the right foot. Water is a critical part of any boiler system, so we're going to talk about water treatment, starting with where the water comes from. Regardless of where our water source is, a well or municipal water supply, we're probably going to soften that water, and that's going to remove minerals and other elements that we don't want to eventually go into our boiler. A second part of our water treatment is chemically treating it. So we've got different chemicals that serve different purposes, and we're going to discuss those, how we put them into the boiler, where, how, and why. Some of the components involved in that are chemicals themselves, pumps and whatnot for integrating those or introducing those to the boiler system, and so on. So the next step of the boiler room is feeding that water into a boiler. So this is a simple preheat and feed tank with temperature-based preheat control, level control, and of course a pump to put the water into the boiler itself. A deaerator is a slightly more complicated but more efficient way of preparing water for our boiler, but it's similar in a lot of ways to a preheat tank. It's got pumps and level controls, but what's different from a preheat tank is that it's a pressurized vessel, so we can raise the temperature of the water beyond what we would consider the boiling point of 212 degrees. So a deaerator is going to have other features like a pressure gauge, temperature gauge, overflow trap, and other components that we'll be discussing. Regardless of whether we're using a preheat tank or a deaerator, we're going to have some device on the boiler that controls the water level in the boiler itself. This is an example of a McDonnell-Miller level control that's float operated. There are lots of different combinations of boiler types and burner types, and we're going to try to touch on everything in this class. This is an example of a fire tube boiler with a forced draft burner. Different types of boilers that people might have include the fire tube boiler, water tube boilers, small flexible tube boilers, and many more. All gas-fired equipment is going to have some type of flame safeguard control. It's in charge of sequencing the operation and monitoring the flame to ensure safety. Different types include Honeywell, FireEye, AutoFlame, Siemens, and more. All boilers are going to share certain features: header valves, feed water systems, relief valves, and we're going to look at each of those individual components. When we talk about combustion, we're going to be talking about fuel and air mixtures, and we're going to discuss the air dampers, actuators, flue gas recirculation. We may have inlet dampers, and we're certainly going to have gas trains and other types of fuel systems. We're also going to talk about daily maintenance items, blow down of the boiler, maintaining sight glasses, and other things that we do weekly, monthly, or annually to keep our boilers in good working condition. We're also going to talk about ways that we can save energy in the boiler room, from the economizer to automated surface blowdown recovery units, even insulation in the boiler room. We're going to talk about the steam system, from drip legs, distribution piping, traps, points of use in the steam system, unit heaters, kettles, heat exchangers, and then we're going to talk about condensate return systems, pumps, receiver tanks, and the other tools we use to get that water back to our feed tank or our deaerator.